The title race in the Premier League is hitting up. We are in March right now, going into April, and I think that most of us didn't believe, at least didn't predict, that something like this would be happening. If either team were going to win, at least the way things were at the beginning of the season, I thought that at least by middle of March we would have a winner, or at least someone who we thought was more likely to win the Premier League. Well, it's not the case. It looks like both teams could win it. It could really go either way. And it's really, another thing is that it's really unfortunate that it's just City and Liverpool. I thought that maybe United and Chelsea, at the beginning of the season at least, I thought that these two teams would be much more into this race, but they aren't. And it's really just about Liverpool and City, and that's what I'm going to dive into in this video. I think I'm going to make 3 of these videos. I'm going to make this one about the Premier League and who's going to finish first. I'm going to make one about the Premier League and who's going to finish 4th, the top 4 race. And I'm also going to make one about the Serie A, because that's been, in my opinion, the best league in Europe across the top 5 leagues. I mean, across any league. The Serie A this season has been amazing. But welcome back to the JVM Football channel, where you can find game analysis, football history, individual performances, top 10s, etc. If you are interested and would like more football content like this, please subscribe to the channel. So first of all, where do both teams stand at the moment? At the moment of recording, today is Wednesday the 30th of March. Hopefully this video comes out tomorrow. City sit in first place, 29 games played with 70 points. And Liverpool sit in second place, 29 games played with 69 points. 1 point away from each other. And also I might also add that Liverpool have a 55 goal difference, whereas City have a 50 goal difference. It can really go either way. As I'm looking into this, it's just really sinking into my mind. 1 point difference. Ooh. Okay. How many games are left? We have 9 games left, and yeah, that's 9 games left with both teams standing 1 point from each other. Now, what has gone well for each team so far this season? Because I believe that this momentum that both teams have created will carry over into these last 2 months, and also in the different other competitions that they are in. For example, they are both in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, so that will of course have an impact on how these two teams perform going to the last stretch of the season. So let's talk about City first. What has gone well for City this season? First of all, they are first in the league. Yes, just by 1 point, but they are first. You could perhaps talk about the points they dropped, for example against Tottenham, or other games where they were a bit sloppy, like against Crystal Palace. But they are still first, so that's something they have going on for them. Another thing that City have done well is that they are proving that they can still do it without a striker, just like they did last season. Last season they did well without a striker, but you also have that feeling about the Premier League. The teams that always seem to win it are the teams that have an amazing, stellar defense, but they also have that guy or those few guys up front that will just score 20 plus goals in the competition. And City don't really have that. Liverpool have Salah, they have Jota, they have Mane, although Mane hasn't been that consistent this season. But if you talk about Liverpool, you know who the guy or the guys are that are gonna come through with the goals. But with City, they don't really have that. They didn't have that last season. It's just been a really a team effort, a group effort to go and get the job done, which is really impressive. And it's just a joy to watch. It's lovely to watch this team. They're amazing. Another thing that has gone well for City this season is that I think that this season we are witnessing another Pep masterclass. Again, I have to bring it back to Harry Kane. Is that they really wanted Kane at the beginning? They really wanted Kane in the summer. They didn't get him, but that didn't stop Pep from doing his job. That didn't stop Pep from getting these guys ready and competing. So yeah, another Pep masterclass. And another thing, although this is not relating to the Premier League. This is more towards the Champions League, but it is something that has gone well for them. Is that they are through in the Champions League, and will that have a negative or positive impact? Well, we will look into that in a moment. Now, Liverpool. What has gone well for Liverpool? Liverpool's come back in the league. At some point this season, City were 9 points ahead of Liverpool. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, is that by March I thought that we would have an idea, at least a picture, of who was going to win the league. That hasn't happened. City were 9 points ahead of Liverpool. I think at some point they were even more points ahead of Liverpool, but they dropped a few points and Liverpool just stayed consistent. They just continued to ride the ship. You know, they're 1 point difference. They took the opportunities. When City dropped points, they did not slack back. They got the job done, and now we are in for a bit of entertainment towards the end of the season. Another thing that has gone well for Liverpool, and although this doesn't really relate to the Premier League, is that they have been the best performers in the Champions League as far as I'm concerned. Again, this video is talking about the Premier League, but I just want to shine some light on what both teams have done well, and you understand why a bit later when I do my final verdict on why these things are important. Because again, this momentum that these teams are carrying is hopefully going to help the players going to the last stretch of the season. And also, Salah is having another of those seasons. Well, top scorer in the league right now. The games he's having, the performances he's having. I mean, just to mind comes that hat-trick against United and the things he did against City in the first meet-up early in the season. Salah's just been that guy again. So what has gone wrong for both teams? And for this one, I'm going to say nothing major from either team, so I'm not going to point anything out really. Although this is a point I have in the video because I think that it's important for us to go over what has gone wrong for each team. But there aren't really any standout things or any major implications that the teams have done wrong, at least in the Premier League so far. Again, sure, you could point out City, they dropped a few points here and there, but they are still first and they're still in this title race. Liverpool as well, they dropped a few points at the beginning of the season. That's why there was this gap with City in the first place. But they're back and running, 1 point behind. I guess you could go and talk about the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup as well, but these things are kind of irrelevant to what is the main focus of the video. Who are the key players in each team? For Liverpool, again, it's quite simple, quite obvious to look at who are the guys that are going to carry this team when, like in those last stretches of the important games. For Liverpool, it's Salah. You can also point out Jota, but the key player for Liverpool is Salah. Trent has also been having an outstanding season. I've made a video on Trent. Van Dijk's another guy that's been having an amazing season. I've made a video on Van Dijk. But if we're talking about that guy that's gonna, that guy that you need to give the ball to in the last few minutes of the game, he has to be Salah. And for City, I didn't pick up a clear player, like one singular player, because I think that these guys work very well as a unit, and that's a really positive strength. But I don't know, I think that it is a positive strength, but it could have the negative effect if you think about, they need to get the ball to someone, to make something happen, and because everyone's good enough, no one will own up. So I don't know, just this idea that I have. But yeah, for City, I don't think there is one key player in particular. I just think that the team is very well rounded. So the fixtures, City, from now until the end of the season, City have to play. I mean, their game against Wolves was postponed, so that date needs to be confirmed. So they still need to play Wolves. They need to play Burnley. They need to go and play Liverpool on the 10th of April. That may just be the deciding match, and City were going to have the advantage because they're going to play at home. They're going to go and play Brighton, Watford, Leeds, Newcastle, West Ham, and Aston Villa. I wouldn't call these easy games, especially not the Liverpool game, but I think City can get by winning all, or at least most of these games. The only game City should be dropping points against is against Liverpool, really. And it's not looking very good on the other side because Liverpool, their game against Aston Villa was postponed, but then they have to play Watford. They have to play City. That's going to be an extremely hard game. They have to play United. Sure, United have not been the team that they, that the club and the fans have been used to. But it's still United. It's still going to be a hard game. It's going to be a game at Anfield. It's going to be a tough game. So that could really go. Liverpool could lose points there. They have to go and play Everton at home again. Everton have not been having the best season, but when you go up and play your rivals in back-to-back weeks, that's going to be a tough time. They're going to go and play Newcastle. Not worried about, although they will go and play at St James Park, but still, Liverpool. I don't see why Liverpool should be struggling in that game. I mean, at least not coming out with the points they need in that game, and then they go and play Spurs. So that's 4 games where Liverpool could seriously lose points, and that's not good. So in terms of fixtures, I think that City have the edge. They have quote unquote easier games, and that's really important because in these games, especially Liverpool they're going to go play their 2 biggest rivals in Everton and United in back-to-back weeks. You don't know the impact that could have, the atmosphere in those games. So hopefully Liverpool don't lose points there. So, my final verdict, I'm going to give it to City. I think that City are going to win the league, and it's mainly because of these fixtures. City's fixtures are looking much better than Liverpool's, and I don't really see any team apart from Liverpool beating City. And let's say in that 10th of April game, that Sunday, Liverpool come to the Etihad and they do beat City. Liverpool then have to play United and Everton in back-to-back weeks. Straight after that game, they go to St James Park and have to play Newcastle. They then have to go and play Spurs. Then they have to play Southampton. I mean, I have to use logic here. The logic tells me that Liverpool have a way harder games, and for that, I'm going to give the edge to Liverpool. But that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video until the end. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more game analysis, football history, individual performances, top 10s, etc. This is the beginning of something special, and it would mean the world to me if you subscribed and helped me to grow this channel.